What if I told you that everything you've learned about effort, sacrifice, and struggle to achieve your dreams is actually pushing them further away? Yes, I know. It sounds absurd. But what if that's precisely what's preventing abundance from flowing freely into your life? Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, yet something still feels stuck, jammed, as if the universe is constantly testing you? As if there's an invisible barrier between you and everything you deeply desire? Perhaps you believe the answer lies in working harder, in waking up earlier, in resisting, persisting, forcing. But what if it's the opposite? What if the true key to manifestation is to stop struggling and start allowing? Today, you're going to discover a spiritual technique that contradicts everything you've been conditioned to believe. A technique that not only attracts abundance naturally, but does so effortlessly, without internal conflict, without needing to prove anything to anyone. A technique that realigns you with the natural flow of existence, where prosperity, peace, and love are already yours by right. But be warned, what you're about to hear is not more of the same. It's not empty phrases or shallow repetitions about positivity. It's profound. It's transformative. And at the end of this video, a revelation will be made, the most powerful of all, the one that changes everything, the one that, once understood, breaks invisible patterns that have kept you trapped your entire life. So, breathe deeply, feel every word, because nothing said here is by chance. There's a much bigger reason why you found this video now. And if you allow yourself, today might be the first day of a new reality. By the way, if you've ever felt like you're on the verge of something big, a leap, a turning point, but there always seems to be a nearly in the way, this content is for you, and for no one else. It's speaking directly to your soul, to that silent part within you that knows there's something greater, something beyond, something that goes far beyond matter, effort, and logic, because there's a spiritual truth no one has told you. And it starts with a single question. Why are you struggling so much? Have you ever noticed that nature doesn't struggle to bloom? The river doesn't fight to flow. The sun doesn't need approval to shine. They simply are. They trust the flow. They exist in harmony with the invisible intelligence that governs everything. But humans have been taught to resist, to distrust, to control, to measure every step in fear of what might go wrong. And that's where everything disconnects. When you fight against the flow of life, you disconnect from the source of abundance, because struggling is telling the universe, I don't trust. And the universe, like a mirror that only reflects what you vibrate, responds, okay, then you're not ready to receive. The technique you're about to learn is so simple that your mind will try to reject it, because it doesn't make sense to logic, conditioned by scarcity, but at the same time it's so powerful that if you allow yourself to apply it, you'll feel the difference in every cell of your body. It will be as if something unlocks, as if a door that was always closed finally opens, from the inside out. And if at this moment something is already stirring within you, if you feel a different vibration just by hearing these words, then this is the sign. This is the call. Do not ignore it. Now, before we move on, one important thing. If you want to delve even deeper into this journey of conscious manifestation, there's content in the first pinned comment of this video that can expand your mind in surprising ways. Click there afterward. What's there was made especially for those ready to reconnect with their creative power. And yes, this technique will touch on wounds, because it's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging the pain, the exhaustion, the frustration of trying, and seeing so little result. Because it is from this point of sincerity with yourself that transformation begins. It's not about denying suffering. It's about moving through it with awareness, with presence, with a new perception. It's about looking at it and saying, I am no longer a hostage to this. I choose to trust, I choose to flow. Have you ever noticed that when you are at peace, things happen faster? That when you let go, what seemed impossible naturally unfolds? That when you simply live in the now, miracles happen in the details? Indeed, the spiritual technique you're about to learn is about that. Unblocking the flow of life within you, making space for the universe to finally deliver everything you've been asking for. Because yes, it heard your requests. It's just waiting for the moment you stop doubting that you deserve to receive them. And now, I need to ask you, are you ready to stop struggling? Because when you stop struggling, you start listening again. And when you listen, you remember. You remember that you are the channel of abundance, that you were never separate from it. That scarcity was just an illusion, a veil created by fears, beliefs, and patterns that are not yours. That abundance is your natural state, always has been, always will be. In the next segment, you'll discover how this technique works on deep levels of your consciousness, dissolving invisible blocks and reprogramming your vibration to receive. But be warned, what will be revealed has the power to turn your perception of the world upside down. Prepare yourself for a new view of reality. Keep watching and feel the space opening within you as we move towards the essence of this practice, known among ancient mystics as inner resonance alignment. It's not a method in the traditional sense. It's a natural return to a state of perfect harmony with the creative source, that silent point that vibrates at the exact frequency of what you wish to experience. When you learn to anchor yourself in this point, everything else rearranges itself around you, like iron filings drawn to an invisible magnet. Imagine for a moment that reality is a vast sea of undulating possibilities. Every thought, every emotion, and every belief you emit acts like a drop touching the surface, generating waves that propagate infinitely. Most people let these drops fall without realizing it, generating random waves that collide with each other, creating chaos, delays, and that exhausting feeling of swimming against the current. Inner resonance. Alignment, however, teaches you to drop only the right drop, at the right moment, with the right intention. From there, the entire ocean moves in sync with you. Perhaps you're wondering how to align that precise drop when so many thoughts and emotions are scrambling within you. The answer lies in something that seems simple, but is revolutionary in practice. Radical presence. It's not about meditating for hours until you reach a trance, nor repeating affirmations without feeling them. It's about fully immersing yourself in the moment, perceiving every bodily sensation as if it were the first time. By doing this, you silence the mental noise that generates resistance. Imagine yourself sitting by a crystal-clear pond. Any sudden movement stirs the water and distorts the reflection. But when you remain still, everything calms down, and the liquid mirror effortlessly reveals the perfect image of the sky. It is in this state of active stillness that you plant your intention. Choose a single vision, the most vivid, the one that makes your heart beat faster. Perhaps the financial stability that will allow you to help your family, or that sunny house with a garden you've always dreamed of cultivating. See it not as something distant, but as a memory you are reliving. Feel the texture of the walls, hear the birds in the backyard, perceive the aroma of freshly brewed coffee in the spacious kitchen. When the image gains color and sound, release it gently, like someone sending a letter on the wind, trusting it will find its destination. Don't chase it. Don't monitor it. Just return to stillness and let the universe handle the logistics. You might notice resistance emerging. But what if it doesn't happen? And that's natural. Resistance is just an echo of old programs recorded in the subconscious mind. When it appears, smile internally and acknowledge, "Look at that, another old pattern trying to protect me." Then, return to radical presence, feeling the air touch your nostrils, the weight of your body in the chair, the subtle pulse of your heart. By doing this, you demonstrate to the universe that you trust the wisdom of the flow more than the whispers of fear. In a short time, synchronicities will begin to sprout. A forgotten email that reappears offering that opportunity, a casual conversation that reveals exactly the contact you needed, an unexpected amount that covers the expense that troubled your thoughts. These are clues that your resonance has shifted. Perceive each of them as a silent applause from the cosmos confirming, "Keep going, you're on the right track." And if at some point you feel you want to dive even deeper, remember that there's an expansion portal waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Tap there when your heart calls, because there are keys there that wouldn't fit in this video, keys that complete the circle of this journey. But none of this would be complete without going through the great turning point, healing the identity of struggle. For years, perhaps decades, you were led to believe that you only deserve what you conquer through sweat, long sleepless nights, and a constant state of alertness. This conditioning, inherited from generations for whom survival was a priority, clung to you like a second skin. That's why, even when everything seems to be going well, the persistent voice arises. Work harder, make it count, it can't be that easy. As long as that voice commands, abundance remains conditioned by pain. Healing happens when you allow yourself to feel something that, at first, seems almost forbidden. Lightness. When you perform daily tasks in a state of lightness, actions cease to be obligations and transform into a natural expression of your being. The email you write carries magnetism. The meeting you lead inspires confidence. The words you utter breathe authenticity. At this point, action is no longer struggle. It is dance. Now that you've begun to perceive how powerful the resonance is between what you feel and what you manifest, we can delve even deeper into this invisible yet absolutely real field where all creation happens. It's not about blind belief. It's about experiencing something so concrete that doubt loses its power on its own. Because when you feel, truly feel in your body and soul, certainty no longer needs to be sustained by the mind. It becomes a part of you. Let's talk now about what truly moves abundance: permission. This is the master key hidden behind every technique, every teaching, every spiritual promise. You don't need to conquer abundance. You need to allow it to manifest. But to allow, it's necessary to break the invisible blocks you don't even know you're carrying. They're like walls built so long ago that they've already become part of the internal landscape, so familiar that you no longer question their presence. How many times have you felt that something incredible was about to happen, but then a strange feeling immediately followed, as if something within you wouldn't allow it to materialize? As if there was a lock? Well, that lock is a reflection of an unconscious belief, often implanted even before you learn to speak. Beliefs like, "I'm not good enough," "I need to work harder," "This isn't for me," or "It's too late." These ideas take root, and even when you visualize, affirm, and act, they keep pulling everything back. That's why the most transformative practice you can start now is simple. Identify where you're still saying no to abundance without realizing it. And here we're not talking about a verbal no, but a vibrational no. That tension in your chest when you think about receiving a lot. That subtle discomfort when imagining yourself living without haste, without debt, with plenty of time and real choices. The body reveals what the mind doesn't want to admit. And do you know what's most beautiful? When you realize you can acknowledge this no with love, without judgment, it begins to dissolve. You don't need to fight it. Just acknowledge it and embrace it as part of your journey. Because every no that exists within you was at one point a protection mechanism. It's only there because, at some point, it was the way your system found to keep you safe. But now you've grown, you've awakened, you can create new paths. And this awareness opens doors. From here, we begin to understand the true power of vibrational neutrality. You don't need to be euphoric all the time, nor repeat affirmations with a forced voice. What truly transforms reality is the state of conscious neutrality. That point of balance where you don't desire with desperation, but also don't reject with fear. It's like holding sand in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. But when you simply hold it with lightness, the sand remains there. Manifestation works the same way. Neutrality is not indifference, it's trust. It's knowing that the field has already received your intention, and that now your only task is to align yourself internally with what you want to live. How? By feeling worthy, by feeling at peace, by acting like someone who knows that what they asked for is already in motion, because it is. And here we arrive at a crucial point, perhaps the most sensitive of this entire journey, the fear of change. You might not realize it, but often the fear of receiving what you desire is greater than the desire itself. Because receiving implies letting old versions of yourself die. Versions you already know, already master, already understand. Receiving abundance can mean losing the control that suffering gave you. It can mean stepping out of the victim role. It can mean having to make choices, having to say no, having to take a stand, having to grow. That's why true transformation begins when you accept, with an open heart, the symbolic death of who you once were, without nostalgia, without attachment, just gratitude, because every old self was necessary to bring you here, but now it's time to go beyond. It's time to assume a new vibrational identity, one that no longer needs to struggle. And believe me, this new identity is already within you. It doesn't need to be built from scratch. It just needs to be activated. And that happens when you decide to stop postponing your happiness. When you say with every cell of your body, I allow myself now. Not later. Not when everything is perfect. Now. At this moment, if you're ready to take a deeper step, there's specially prepared content that can open new doors on your manifestation journey. It's available in the first pinned comment, ready to be accessed by whoever feels the call. This isn't just any invitation, it's an extension of the frequency you're accessing now. Follow your intuition. Returning to the technique that gives this video its title, you may have noticed that it's not something external. It's not a gesture or a ritual. It's a state of being. And that state begins to manifest naturally when you abandon struggle as an identity, when you no longer need to suffer to feel alive, when you no longer need to justify your existence by results, when you simply are. And that being is enough to move mountains. True spirituality is not complex. It is simple, so simple that the mind resists, but the heart recognizes. And the most powerful spiritual technique of all, the one that attracts abundance effortlessly, is precisely the opposite of what we've been taught to do. It's not to run, but to pause. It's not to force, but to surrender. It's not to plan to exhaustion, but to trust with presence. It is at this point that you begin to live in sync with something greater. You realize that you are no longer pushing life. You are gently carried by it. And in this flow, everything comes. The right ideas, the right encounters, the opportunities, the resources, the time, the love, the peace. Not because you screamed louder, but because you finally learned to listen to the silence between thoughts. And that silence, that silence contains everything. It is the womb of creation, the cradle of possibilities, and it is available to you now, this very instant. Just stop, breathe deeply, and allow yourself to feel the pulse of life within you. Feel the stillness that reveals, feel that you were never separate, and that, by abandoning the struggle, you finally allowed the natural flow of abundance to do what it has always been trying to do, reach you. You are not here by chance. This message reached you because, on some level, you asked for it. And now that it's here, it's up to you to embrace it. Because, in the end, it all comes down to one choice: to continue identifying with the struggle, or to finally remember that you are abundance itself in human form. Now, inhale deeply and allow yourself to receive. Now that you've made it this far, breathe with more presence. Notice what has changed within you. Perhaps something has quieted down. Perhaps a tension that was always there, unnamed, has begun to dissolve. Or perhaps a new space has opened. A space where struggle no longer makes sense. Where control dissolves and life begins to flow again. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Not to the world, not to the universe, and especially not to yourself. You already are. You are already complete. And it is in this completeness that abundance begins to manifest naturally as an extension of your inner state, without drama, without effort, without unnecessary sacrifices. From this moment, something has been activated within you. And even if the mind tries to say it's just another video, just another theory, your heart knows, because it felt it. It recognized the truth behind every word, and that truth can no longer be ignored. You don't need to struggle to have. You just need to remember who you are. And believe me, the more you remember, the more the universe responds. Because the universe doesn't obey words. It responds to vibrations. And today, you emitted a different vibration. A vibration that says, I am ready to receive without resistance, without haste, without fear. And if this has touched you on some level, if something within you has been awakened, then share this energy. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel now. This isn't just a mechanical gesture. It's a way to anchor this vibration into your reality. A way to say, yes, I choose to continue on this frequency. And if you felt the deeper call, if you felt there's more waiting for you, then don't ignore your intuition. Access the special content that's in the first pinned comment. There you'll find something made to expand even further what began here. You don't need to know what it is, you just need to feel.